Good morning, everyone. This is Leah Dixon in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I'm coming in this morning to do a very simple, wildly happy card. I just am loving this stamp set, and I have a class organized with this stamp set later in the month. And so I just wanted to show you what this card or what the stamp set's all about. It's 4 really beautiful images with a bunch of little sayings, mostly to do with welcoming baby, but they'd also pair up so nicely with a happy Easter. So really nice springtime stamp set. And this is, of course, out of our annual catalog. And I do have a few friends who are expecting this spring and summer, so this is the perfect stamp set for me. I'm going to be working in some really nice soft colors. I have the I believe it's called Bird Ballad. The Bird Ballad Designer Series paper. So again, this is from our annual catalog. It's a lot of birds, some nice greens and feathers and stuff like that. But then there's also this really beautiful petal pink polka dot paper, and so that's what I've actually pulled out today, is a piece of that to use as a background. So I'm just going to slide these back in so I don't lose them. So I'm using this Bird Ballad paper as a background on our card, and then I have a Sahara Sand piece of paper as my card base. Good morning, Janice. So with my Sahara Sand base, and this one was actually cut at 11 by 4 1/4 and then scored at 5 1/2, so that it makes a card that will be horizontal but won't kind of slide and flatten out over time because the fold is along the side edge. Good morning, Danielle. So with our card base, I then have a piece of that Bird Ballad DSP cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And before we attach this to our card front, I've got the Magnolia Lane ribbon combo here. I'm actually only going to be using one of the ribbons today. I'm going to use the linen ribbon with the white trim. So I'm going to put my old olive twine away for now. I do use a lot of that on other projects, but for this one, we're just going to use our linen. And so I'm going to cut a piece of linen thread that's just a little bit longer than my DSP. And then I'm going to grab my snail, and I'm actually going to use the back of the DSP to do this so that if I get any snail, I'm not getting it on my work surface. It's just on the back of the DSP that's going to be glued down anyways. And I'm going to attach this just below halfway, and you can use the polka dots to actually help you line this up and get this straight. So that's kind of nice. All right, so with that done, I'm going to grab some liquid glue and I'm going to attach this piece of DSP to my card base. All right. So yeah, I have a Wildly Happy card class coming up soon. It's a little bit of a different class than I've done before. It's actually, I guess you'd call it a product-based class. When you sign up for the class, what you're actually purchasing is not the 4 cards that we're going to make, but a little goodie bag that's going to be given to you at the event, that some of the materials we'll use to make the cards, and then most of it will go home with you so you can make more cards at home. So there'll be some little scalloped note cards, some ribbon, and some DSP, and some embellishments in the packet, and then we'll use the Wildly Happy stamp set at the class. You can always do the stamp set as an add-on, but I know lots of you may already have it. So yeah, the goodie bag. Hi, Carrie. The little goodie bag for that class is kind of all the extras that you would need to make some cards at home after the class. And of course, we'll make 4 cards at the class. All right, so I am trying to use up scraps, which is part of the reason for my color scheme. I had this square cut out of petal pink paper. This was actually a die cut. These are the dies from the layered squares. And so this is the second largest square and the matching die in that pack. And so I've got that square, and I'm going to stamp my little bunny rabbit today in Memento Black. And I'm going to stamp him just slightly above halfway. There we go. And so it's really fine, almost like a little sketch, like a little line sketch here. All right, let's move that out of the way so I don't get black ink everywhere. All right, so we're going to color our bunnies today. I'm not going to leave them as little winter white bunnies. These are some cute little spring bunnies. So I've got a bunch of blends that we're going to use here. I'm going to use my light old olive, and I'm going to use it very sparingly, just along the bottom. Oh, I know, Carrie. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, there we go. So for any of you who actually, are seeing my site on a regular basis, you might have noticed yesterday I was a little bit absent. In fact, I posted nothing, which is really unusual for me. We're having a little bit of a crisis at work right now. Well, I shouldn't say we. I am. Oh, sorry. And right now I'm using my light balmy blue to outline my bunny rabbits. I would normally use my light pool party for this, but I actually need to get a new one. I have, after a year and a half of using it, I have used up all of the ink in it, and it is completely dry. So the light balmy blue works really nicely as an alternative. So yeah, my crisis at school right now is I'm raising salmon in my class. I do this every year. But this year, for some reason, we have very, very high ammonia levels at a time when there shouldn't be any ammonia. So not really sure what's going on in my tank. And I'm not the only one. It's the majority of us this year. So I'm not really sure what's happening. And then we just found out that they're going to be spraying our schools, and so we're concerned about the spray getting into the water in the tanks, because of course the tanks are aerated. So trying to problem solve that with people. So I was super busy yesterday in conversations and trying to figure out best course of action with all of that and keep our salmon healthy for the spring break. Kind of feeling the crunch of just a few days left before the break. Excited for it, but a lot to do leading up to that. All right, I just colored in the nose and the ears with my light flirty flamingo. And now I'm going to do a few little highlights with my dark crumb cake. Not too many here, just a little bit. All right. So yeah, sorry for being absent. I'm so looking forward to spring break, time in the garden, time in my stamp room. So trying to get everything in line for before we take off from school. All right. So with that dark crumb cake in there, I'm going to come in now with the small end of my light crumb cake and really blend that. Get that nice and wet. So these are alcohol markers, so they blend better when the paper is wet. So that's why I'm coming in and really concentrating and coloring in those spots with the fine tip. And then I'll kind of do a bigger run over the whole thing. Oh, Janice, a brunch over the break would be fabulous. I have actually quite a few days. My parents are taking the kids for an entire week. So yeah, a brunch would be fabulous. Once we get off, why don't you message me with some dates? The second week is when my parents will have my kids, so I'm more free then. And yeah, that'd be great. Okay, come in there. And now we have these sweet little brown bunnies for the springtime. I'm going to glue these onto this square, and I know you're probably thinking, oh, she left all that space. I'm going to be covering that up with like a little banner. So here we go. Get this in here. Glue that down. Yeah, it snowed on the mountain yesterday as well, so life was wild. The kids were so crazy. It snowed enough that we actually had to make a no snowball throwing announcement, which is just crazy because this morning when I took the kids to school, it was gorgeous and sunny. A little cool, but gorgeous and sunny, and looks like it's going to be a great afternoon for gardening if we get home from dentist appointments early enough. All right, so I'm going to pop this onto my card using some dimensionals. Oh, grabbed a few too many there. All right. And voila. Okay. So the card that I'm making today is actually being made off of a card sketch. I've really started to enjoy using card sketches to make cards. And after this one's done, I'll show you another one that was created using the same sketch, so you can see how different two cards can look, despite having come from the same sketch. All right. So I got a piece of Whisper White, just scrap paper off of my desk. I think that that's going to be just a little bit wide, and it's definitely too long. So I'm going to grab my little paper trimmer. So this is the paper trimmer that you can get right now for signing up and getting a starter kit with Stampin' Up! During Celebration. And so sweet little thing, and it's great for doing kind of these smaller, actually let's see if that is too wide. So I'm going to use the Sweetest Baby. So it's just slightly too big. Okay. So yeah, right now when you sign up and get a starter kit with Stampin' Up, you get this little paper trimmer. You get, that's 1 inch. Let's make it 3/4. You get a package of DSP, a stamp set of your choice, plus $165 worth of product. You get all of that for just $135, shipping and taxes included. So it's pretty incredible. If you want to know more about that deal, you can either message me directly or listen in tomorrow night at about 7 o'clock. I'm going to be coming on. You'll actually see my face, not just my hands. And I'm going to be doing like a little I Love Stamping night and just sharing with people all about, you know, what Celebration is, the perks to joining now, the perks to joining my team, and anything else you may want to know about Celebration or signing up as a demonstrator. All right, so now I've got the Sweetest Baby stamp here on my block, and I'm inking it up with, what did I actually grab? Sahara Sand. Good, because that's the color base that I've got. So I'm going to put that a little bit away from the edge. Stamp my Sweetest Baby. Now that's not super straight, so I'm actually going to flip that over. Okay, let's see. I do that. Okay, so I've got to have it just slightly off. All right, let's try this. There we go. All right, so that's why we use the grid paper. It can come in really handy for lining things up. All right, so that was my Sahara Sand. And now this is longer than I'm going to want it. I do want it right out to the edge of my card, but then I want right around there is where I want to punch the end. So I'm going to bring in my very favorite punch, my tailored punch, and or tailored tag punch, I think they call it. And there we go. I've created like a little banner. And that is going to go onto my card there. And then that's going to need some embellishments for sure. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to use dimensionals on here to pop this up. Probably should have used minis, but we'll see. This should fit. All right. So just like that. And I'm going to bring it right to the edge of my DSP, not all the way to the edge of my card. And put that underneath. Now, I guess the other thing I could have done here is kind of inked the edges. And actually, I'm looking at that and I am going to. So I'm going to very carefully peel this off. And we're going to ink the edges of this. Sometimes I like the way it looks, just white on white. And sometimes I just feel like it needs to pop. Okay, that came up quite well. Good. All right, so how we're going to do this is I'm going to grab a sponge. And so I just need to find one that's kind of similar in color. Let's see. That one's a yellow. That's not going to work. Let's find one that's an orange. Or maybe one that's clean. How about that? Does it have a clean one? That one's clean enough. All right. So they don't come clean, like visually clean when you wash them, but they do come clean in that they don't leave any color behind. So I'm going to grab my petal pink, and I'm going to just get my sponge in here and pick up some color. And then very, very gently along the edges, just going to add just the tiniest hint of color here. And so the petal pink's really cool because it is pink, but it's kind of got that brownish hue to it. So it blends really nicely with the Sahara sand and doesn't kind of stand out so much like, you know, say a flirty pink or some flirty flamingo pink or something would. So yeah, there we go. That's just a little bit of definition that we needed, so that it wasn't so plain. All right. Pop that one back down, just with a little bit of definition in there. All right, so that is the base of our card done. We just need to add a few little embellishments to this now. So I'm going to grab my ribbon. Where did I put it? There it is. Grab my ribbon, and I'm going to put a little bow on here. This is just super simple. I've just tucked it underneath. And now, do I want a bow or just a knot? I think I actually want a bow. So I'm going to actually undo that and give myself a little bit more. I need to have enough to do my 2 bunny ears and to be able to trim ends a bit. All right, got my scissors. There we go. So I've just put that underneath the piece of ribbon that I attached to my card. And then I'm going to pull this up into a bunny ear and pull that down into a bunny ear and wrap them around each other. And that's going to give me a nice bow that lays flat along that line. And then once you've got that going, you just kind of fiddle with it and pull the ribbon into the position you want it in, size you want for your bows, the way you want that knot to sit, and just kind of get a little rough with it, push it where you want it, and then we'll trim up our ends. Oh, come on, there we go. So we've got our little bow. Now I'm going to add some sequins to this. So we have some really lovely self-adhesive sequins. Just grab these. So I started to have sequins packs everywhere. Good morning, Val. So what I did is I went and got myself some of these large DVD cases, or large storage cases, I think they call them, in the catalog. And then we open that up. And so this way I'm just able to keep like my sequins a little bit more in place and not lose them everywhere. So these are the basic adhesive backed sequins that I'm going to use, because these have those lovely Sahara sand, petal pink, and then like some other nice light greens and some whites and stuff. And so I'm going to bring these in to use as an embellishment on here. And I think I might actually see what the green ones look like. Yeah, just because of the grass there, and just to change things up a little bit, I'm actually not going to go with the pink. I'm going to go with some little green sequins on here, and oh, come back here and fill up some of the space here on my white tag. Just do a few there, and maybe one over here, maybe one up here. Yeah. And I'm going to actually try and line that up on a polka dot, just because the polka dot pattern is so pronounced. I don't want to kind of go off the polka dot pattern. All right, so just a few little embellishments on there, and our card is nearly complete. We're not going to do anything more to the front of our card, but what we are going to do is stamp on the inside of our card, because along with the sweetest baby stamp, we have the sweetest little saying here. We have so tiny, so small, so loved by all, and that's just too sweet to not use on a baby card. I was tempted to use it on the front of the card, actually, because it is just the perfect sentiment for a new baby. So there we go. So tiny, so small, so loved by all. And that is our card. So when we're going to package this up and send it off, another thing that I like to do is to decorate my envelopes. And so for this one, I think I would actually just do a sweetest baby in the corner. And because it's going to be the outside and we don't have the lovely petal pink to go with the Sahara Sand color, I'm actually going to clean my stamp and do the sweetest baby stamp in petal pink on the front. You could also stamp the little bunny rabbits. That would be very sweet as well. But then you have to color them, and sometimes coloring with the blends on an envelope isn't the easiest or the best. So I'm just going to do the sweetest baby in the corner, and that is my my envelope. I might actually also find a polka dot. I know somewhere I have a polka dot stamp. I might actually grab that and do some polka dots on my envelope. So that'll be for another day. That is our card for today, though, using our Wildly Happy stamp set. So hopefully I'll get on later this week and at least be able to post a few more Wildly Happy cards. And then if you're interested in attending my Wildly Happy card class at the end of the month, the deadline to register for that is actually this Sunday, because I need to have time to purchase all of the paper and everything that I'll need for your little goodie bags that day. So yeah, either message me or go onto my site and RSVP to that event on my website. It's at leahdixon.stampinup.net that you'll be able to find that Wildly Happy card class to RSVP for it. So have a wonderful day, enjoy the sunshine, and I will see you all soon. Bye!